If y'all love black people, like this, comment, and share if y'all love black people.
Good morning, and I wanted to show you how my day starts in the classroom. So I come in, I turn on all the lights, the Promethean board, lots of lights, so many lights, but it gives the classroom a nice vibe. And then I update our board with the date and our agenda for today. Here's our board now. And then I work on our slides for the day, updating them, starting them, publishing them, and then adding them to the Promethean board, getting some nice vibes going for the morning, and then going through paperwork and things to do. And here's the classroom. We're working on a collage project, so that's all out of their table, and we'll get started for the day. Wins.
Oh my god, have you seen this? This black woman says that she doesn't need white allies, that she doesn't like white women in general, that she doesn't need our help. Okay, wait, aren't you upset about this? She says she doesn't like people like you. I heard you. She says she doesn't need your help. She doesn't. I'm just here for support, and if she needs that help and wants that help, I'm right here. She said she didn't like white people. I'm sorry, is there a point to this? I told her that if she was gonna act that way, then I wasn't gonna help her. So let me get this straight. Your allyship is contingent upon black people liking you? No, she was being mean. By setting a boundary which you continued to violate? They need us. No, they don't. Especially if your allyship is contingent upon having your feelings catered to when they're literally in a life or death situation. White savior.
There is not a single research study in existence that shows that lifelong weight loss is possible for even more than a tiny fraction of people. Let's get into it. The largest and longest diet study in history had more than 20,000 participants and lasted 8 years. The study found that participants lost weight in the short term, which is typical of diet studies. But after 8 years, when the study concluded, they found out that the weight of the participants had changed virtually not at all from the starting point, despite having dieted that entire time, and their waist circumference had increased. Studies across the board show that 95% of people who pursue weight loss will gain back all the weight they lost within 5 years of their diet beginning. And that's regardless of whether or not they continue their behaviors. And 2/3 of those people will gain back more weight than they lost. This is another study saying the same thing. Here's another study saying the same thing. And the weight loss that is experienced by that tiny percentage for the long term is like 5 or 10 pounds. I could drop 5 pounds right now with a loofah and a haircut.
I get asked quite often what eating disorders I've suffered with in the past, and so I thought I would just make it into a video so I can just refer you to this. And I was diagnosed with atypical anorexia, which is super problematic, binge eating disorder, and orthorexia.
Hi, I'm Az, and I'm a preschool teacher, and I wanted to talk about some of the things that my kids do that make me super proud of them. I mean, yeah, our ABCs are 1, 2, 3s, those are super important, but there are things that make me way more proud than seeing them be able to do those things. When my kids exude kindness, when they help each other with things and when they're polite to each other, it just fills my heart. When I watch them work really, really hard on something, even something is just like they want to climb up on a stool and they can't get it and they're afraid of it, and then one day they get it, my heart. And probably most importantly, when they're proud of themselves. I get such a little pride high from them being proud of themselves. It's probably what I teach most in my classroom. Be proud of yourself. Find your accomplishments and love it. Be proud. My heart.
It's a mixed up, muddled up, shook up world. I don't wanna be a boy, I don't wanna be a girl. You get my hustle on, pimping bitches and counting digits, the muscle moving strong, ho.
That comment is misogynistic. Yes, misogynistic. Homophobia is a direct result of misogyny. If you are a feminist watching this, I need you to be just as enraged by that comment. because that comment is straight up dangerous. And it is a mindset that messes up everybody in patriarchy. In patriarchy, what is considered male and female is quite binary, not very fluid, and imposing. And it falls on men to protect the respectability of everything that is male and shun everything that is female and keep everything that is considered female in their place, which is subjugation, and therefore not very respectable. That's why boys are taught not to wear pink, not to wear glitter, to suppress their emotions, not to be a nerd, not to be a teacher, and do everything you can not to be called. That comment is basically saying that anything female is considered inferior and should not be worn or emulated by a man. And it's trying to push the burden of maintaining that hierarchy of humanity onto that content creator who's obviously deviating for his own liberation. Be mad about this.
Neopronouns are sets of third-person pronouns that aren't officially recognized in the language they're used in. Most of them have the intention to offer gender-neutral pronoun alternatives, as many languages, especially in Indo-European ones, are heavily gendered. Contrary to popular belief, neopronouns aren't a new thing that popped up in the last few years. For example, the Swedish pronoun hen has been around since 1966, even though it didn't get too much attention until the 2010s. Hen was added to the official Swedish dictionary in 2015. The neopronouns flag has 5 stripes, which represent masculine neopronoun users, older sets of pronouns and their history, non-binary users, newer sets of pronouns and the happiness they bring, and feminine users. Tomorrow I'll do polyamorous.
Okay, look, I have an obsession, so we just gotta see. No, I hate it. Look, I have like 12 favorite characters and he isn't on the list.
Oh, you interacted because my they she apple pronouns are valid.
Okay, I am here today, guys, to address the rumors. Yes, I have a belly. Yes, I think I'm sexy. And yes, it's none of your business how healthy of a lifestyle you think that I live. Because I know how healthy of a lifestyle I live. Just because I don't fit into your societal standards for beauty, because I don't have a flat stomach, because I have cellulite, because I have back fat, that doesn't mean I'm unhealthy. That means I have internal organs and I take care of myself. Some of y'all think that normal is a woman who starves herself to suit society's needs. And I'm here to say, if that is you today, baby, if you strive for an aesthetic body that isn't sustainable or attainable, then stop, because you're beautiful just the way you are. Just the way God made you, you're sexy.
Something that I've recently and unfortunately been made aware of is the existence of this app that was made by and for TERFs. It's called Giggle, and it's marketed as a female-only social media platform. With female-only, of course, meaning cis women only. Trans women are barred from using this app. And to be honest, I'm not really surprised that this exists. TERF-run communities have been a thing for a couple of years now, from the now defunct gender-critical subreddit to sites like Over It and Spinster. But the thing about this app that stood out to me and made me want to make a video about it is their verification system. In order to confirm that the people signing up for the app are indeed cis women, Giggle uses facial recognition AI technology to scan your selfies and determine if your face is female enough. As if there wasn't enough irony in a group of so-called gender-critical feminists designing their woman-only app in all pink and naming it Giggle, you also have the added ridiculousness of the fact that this app's unique selling point revolves entirely around the standard of your appearance is what makes you a woman. So not only does this app perfectly demonstrate how TERFs don't actually care about deconstructing or challenging gender, but it also shows how, at the core of TERF bioessentialism, is white supremacy and racism. Because if you get right down to it, guessing the gender of somebody based on their facial appearance
reference is ultimately about playing a game of determining masculinity or femininity. Because there is no set biologically female face, just a range of characteristics and attributes that we commonly associate with femininity and therefore women. And, as many feminists of color have pointed out time and time again, our process of associating things with masculinity or femininity is incredibly racialized. Like, the features that we commonly consider feminine, bigger eyes, smaller noses, heart-shaped faces, these are all typically white European features. The frame of reference for what makes a female face is built only around white women, and AIs are perfectly capable of replicating that Eurocentric framework. For example, one study found that facial recognition systems from companies like IBM and Google had a more difficult time guessing the gender of pictures of darker-skinned women. So I wouldn't be surprised if Google's verification system ended up replicating the same results. Anyways, the whole idea and execution behind Giggle is one of those instances in which TERFs will, knowingly or not, tell you exactly what their movement is actually about. They're not genuinely interested in criticizing gender or uplifting women's voices. They're just interested in hating trans women. And that hatred is propped up by this idea of biological womanhood that not only excludes trans women, but also women of color. It's an idea that's forged through the same white supremacist, misogynist concepts of gender and sex that they, as feminists, should be fighting against. Here are my cited sources as well as some further reading recommendations.